Okay, Bismillah, in the name of God. So I'll try to get back straight to the points. I did disable the comments and so on and so forth because some people, and I won't say who, they made some comments which were of sexual nature, and I did not like them, and on many of my videos, and I don't think they're appropriate, and also some F words and so on and so forth, and people just, I can't really tolerate sometimes, but hey, people give me fire for that, so I removed that. Go ahead, kill each other in terms of debates and discussions and swearing at each other if you want to. That means freedom of speech for you. Go ahead, insult each other till you can't take it anymore. You're very witty and very sophisticated in your speech, so I will try to kind of ask people to kind of put the rhetoric on the side and try to focus on the actual arguments. I talked about honey, and honey, I did not say anything whatsoever that is a proof for the Quran. I said that's the only scientific cure that is in the Quran. It is scientific because no scientist would argue that there is a cure in honey. There's benefit in honey. That's all I said. I did not use it as some kind of proof. I did not say whatsoever, not make any claim that there was no knowledge of it, of the issue of honey previous to the Quran. I did not say that. So please take and quote me properly. My degree is in psychology and biology, is neuroscience and cognition with research. I do know some of the things that you talked about, some I don't, and it's always a good place to learn. We talked about Maurice Bucaille, corrupting the minds for money. I don't think that is, Richard Dawkins is getting money for his stuff, and the books that you're reading to get some of your knowledge is also making money, and he's also corrupting the minds of people, right? Everyone is corrupting someone's minds. Everyone's putting their biases out there. That's why I was calling people to, hey, that's my spiritual approach. Go do the research. Go, be critical. Also have an open mind, an open heart, and try to be sincere. What I deduce from stopping the comments, you kind of accuse me of some hypocrisy. I'm not a hypocrite. I told you why I stopped the comments. That does not mean I'm afraid or anything. All I'm trying to do censors the swearing, which people, have left the ethics and morals that used to be at some point in time. If there were, now it's just free, so-called free speech. But anyway, I opened it and go ahead, talked about the Muslim faculties. I just said, based on how your video was kind of shaped, that you're kind of ridiculing Muslims and, talking about how come there's nothing coming up from these countries. All I'm saying is that there is. And I talked about what was the driving force behind some of the achievements. And I want people to actually go to the 1001 inventions and actually look at them. And actually study a bit, and actually go to the Quran. Do a search, do a search, science in the Quran. Do a search about, for example, the different seas. مرج البحرين يلتقيان بينهما برزخ لا يبغيان. Surah Rahman. When God talks about the two seas, the difference in the water density, and so on and so forth, and that there's a barrier between them that they do not cross each other. How did this knowledge come to Muhammad? Did he dip his finger somewhere where he saw a barrier between the two seas, and then tasted the two waters, and then tested the salinity and the density and so on and so forth? Did it come from the Greeks? If you can prove to me that that knowledge was, that the Greeks actually believed that there's an invisible barrier, and then the difference, and we can discuss about it, not a problem. I'll reach to the point as to the accusation that you made that Muhammad copied from the Greeks, the Quran copied from the Greeks. I like your analogy of the computer. I did not claim that the Muslims invented the zero. I did not say that. I said they developed on it. And, it's very, common to know that the concept of zero was developed, right? And then also the numbers, right, came from India, and they developed those numbers from India. Okay, the issue of algebra is from Al-Jabr, right? He developed those sciences, and it's not necessarily that it's in the Quran. It's not something that I claim. The Quran copied from the Greeks. The burden of proof is left on you. Prove to me the Quran is copied from the Greeks, the scientific things in the Quran, right? Go ahead, prove to me these things. Number one is at the time of Prophet Muhammad, and it's you yourself said in, right, the centuries where these advancements came, right, when actually the Greek scriptures were rescued from the Library of Alexandria and translated, okay, and then analyzed by the scientists. At the time of Muhammad, well, there was no books really. They were writing on bones, and he did not have whatsoever any access to any Greek knowledge. Right, the farthest, more far-fetched accusation that can stand is the issue of him ever talking to a monk called Bakhira in Syria about Christianity, and that's the Orientalists are making that, the Quran was copied from the Bible, and easily we can refute that. But on the concept of science, there's no such thing as him copying for number one, because he did not know how to read or write. Number two, because he did not have any kind of interaction with any knowledge or any scientists of the Greek, the so-called huge text that you're giving so much claim to, and he ever had the time or the ability to copy into the Quran. And if anyone who analyzes the history of Islam and the history of the Quran without any doubt or a shadow, from a rational point of mind that you are always appealing to, would easily know how your argument is very, very fallible. My claim on the Greeks was not exhaustive whatsoever. Okay, when I gave the examples, I don't think they're ridiculous. First of all, they did believe a homunculus. This was part of their philosophy, and I agree with you of the Renaissance or their flourishing, times. And I am aware of some of those examples that you gave. I did not give an exhaustive example, right? It was more comparing to what they believe in terms of the development of the human embryo. Yes, I am aware of other things that they believed in that were developed after. But I'm trying to, go and research a bit about the development of the human embryo as described in the Quran, and compare it with the development of the embryo as described in the Greek scriptures. And I gave you the example in my second time of Professor Moore from the University of Toronto, who did a study on that. And if he was paid too, then great, let him be paid as well. Everyone's paid. Every Muslim who claims or non-Muslims who claim any kind of scientific, accuracy in the Quran has been paid by Saudi Arabia, and they gave him an oil rig and so on and so forth. By the way, I'm just being sarcastic. I don't think the Greek text gave the early Muslims a drive, the early achievements of the Muslims. There's definitely, they were part of it, and I think there was also the interaction between the Jews, the Muslims, and the Christians, the different minds. They traveled all the way up to China. There was minds influencing from everywhere, but the drive was what I said. It was the actual seeking for knowledge. The Quran asks you to seek that knowledge, to go at science. I defer to you about the issue of Allah keeping the birds in the sky. It's talking metaphorically, right? He's not actually holding them, but it's by His will that He created, the gravity, that He created the forces, that He created all these natural things that we call, forces and so on and so forth. These are what we believe in Islam, that God is the author and the creator of all these things, but it's by His will that it happens, right? So I don't think maybe you misunderstood me. You called me about ignorance. You accused me of a few things, but anyway, I'm not gonna get into that. Let me see here. I kind of try to put down everything really fast. Yeah, I did talk about the motivation, the Iqra, the first revelation, as opposed to, for example, the motivations of the Christians, right? We know about Galileo, and when he proposed some of the things to the Christian church, and many other things, just advancement in terms of translating the Bible, and other people like Tyrrell and so on, who were been burnt at the stake, accused of heresies and so on. In the Islamic era, it did not happen. You will not see anyone being accused or being killed. Give me an example for scientific achievements, okay? And at the time, he talked about that it was a free Muslim society, or so on and so forth. Well, I tend to defer. It was not. What do you mean about free, right? It's not that people could just go and do whatever. There was moral ethics and things that spurred from the inside of the people. And you have to define what freedom was. Freedom of advancement, it was always there and it's still there right now. If you